Hello. Welcome back to my channel. As you may or may not have known, if you've not been here long or whatever, I've not been making videos. I haven't made a video for a while. Again, like I always say, I have no real reason for it. Life sort of just comes along and does its thing, and and before you know it, So anyway, I'm back. My computer has been bad. It needed a whole new power pack thing because for some reason one day went to turn it on and nothing at all. It weren't having it. So I had to. Well, my husband bought a new power pack and everything. He fitted it all in. And anyway, it's working now, so that's the main thing. Also, yes, you may see I hurt my arm. Yeah, it's a bit clumsy, really. It wasn't me, it was me, but it weren't. How can I explain? Right, I was taking my dog for a walk in the woods, and he decided it'd be a great idea to walk in front of me as I was walking. So he literally tripped me over, and I fell completely over him and landed on my shoulder and my arm. So yeah, that wasn't great. I think because I landed on him, well, not on him, on the floor, it damaged something. I don't know. At first I thought it was fractured because it's sort of right here, well, literally just below my shoulder. And then I thought, no, it can't be fractured. It must be, perhaps a torn ligament or something along them lines. So anyway, I didn't go to the doctors because I don't, and I should know better. But anyway, so yeah, it's getting a bit better now. It's been sore for the last 2 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks this coming Tuesday since I did it, and I've been keeping it in this sling as much as possible while I'm at home, because obviously then I'm resting it more, and it's obviously working because I'm resting it more and it's starting to feel a little bit better. So anyway, there you go, that's what I've been up to. Had computer problems and I've damaged my arm, so all good in the hood. So yeah, hope you're well. Hope you're doing better than me. I know it's like I say, it's been ages. I can't remember last time when I done a video. It's been literally that long. So today I'm doing a video of urban legends. And the reason I'm doing urban legends is because I like urban legends and I find them interesting. There's so many different ones as well, so many. So I thought it would be a good one to do. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing urban legends. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video and I'll see you on the flip side. And yeah, see you in a bit, bro. In 2016, there were clown sightings. It was a case of mass hysteria, fueled by reports of people disguised as evil clowns in sort of certain settings like in forests or schools. The incidents were reported in the United States, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom and subsequently in other countries and territories during August 2016. The first sightings were reported in Green Bay, Wisconsin, in what turned out to be a marketing stunt for a horror film. The phenomenon later spread to many other cities in the US, and by mid-October 2016, clown sightings and attacks had been reported in nearly all US states. 9 out of 13 provinces and territories of Canada and 18 other countries. Now, prior to the spate of incidents in 2016, numerous sightings of people dressed as clowns or in odd or weird settings have occurred throughout the world since 2013. There have been videos and images of precursor sightings spread through social media posts and viral sharing for the contents. The one possible precursor event was the 2013 sightings of the creepy clown in Northampton in England. The Northampton clown sightings, which were in the town during September and October in 2013, were the work of three local filmmakers. The clown shared similar looks to Pennywise, the dancing clown from Stephen King's book It. The trio started a Facebook page for the so-called Northampton Clown, and it was using the appearances to drive traffic to the page. Then in March 2014, someone from Pegulia. Anyways, an owner of a YouTube channel, DM Pranks, began dressing up as an evil clown and terrifying unsuspecting passers-by, with his videos racking up hundreds of millions of viewers. So a rash of sightings appeared in California in USA in October 2014, which centred upon the Wasco clown. Now, I'm not sure if I said that right. Wasco, I don't know how you say it. And it primarily occurred in Wasco, I don't know, California, in the area of photos appearing on social media. So a segment called Why Are Clowns Scary was part of the 2014 documentary Killer Legends. The filmmakers travelled to Chicago to explore the previous clown panics that swept the city in 1991 and again in 2008, linking them to serial killer John Wayne Gacy and the Stranger Danger panic. It was around this time in 2014 that some of the first clown sightings appeared in the US, including early sightings in Staten Island, New York. A person in a clown attire was spotted in a cemetery in Chicago in 2015. The occurrence involved two residents who spotted the creepy clown scaling the gate at the Rose Hill Cemetery late at night. Now, after the clown entered the cemetery, they turned to face the residents and began waving slowly as they made a video recording. After waving for a few seconds, the clown ran into the dark wooded area and was not seen again. Police investigation of the sighting did not lead to any arrests. So, in early 2016, in August, the clown phenomenon began. And according to the New York Times, reports began to surface of clown sightings in Greenville County, South Carolina in late August. In Greenville County, it was rumoured that clowns were attempting to lure children into the woods with money or loitering around. A clown was sighted in Winston-Salem, in North Carolina, offering treats to children. The clown fled when the police arrived. 5 pictures of a creepy clown roaming around a vacant parking lot under a bridge in downtown Green Bay at night started going viral on the 1st of August 2016. A Facebook page was created shortly after, claiming that the clown was named Gags. In the days that followed, the pictures were discussed on numerous news outlets like Fox News and USA Today. Suspicions of the character being related to a horror film were confirmed when the Wisconsin filmmaker announced the pictures of a marketing stunt for the then unreleased short film titled Gags. The feature film was produced based on the short film and premiered in 2018, with the film having made a limited theatre run, and it was released on VOD platforms in September 2019. Now, I haven't seen this myself, but I might have to Google it to see if it's still out there. Now, after the Wisconsin incident, numerous other incidents started popping up across the United States. At the end of August 2016, in early October, further incidents were reported in Canada and the first occurrences in the United Kingdom and Australia. British communities were described as horrified, and pressure had been placed on the police resources. Now, I mean, horrified is probably a good word, maybe, but it wasn't that horrifying. It was just a bit bizarre. And I think, if you had kids then younger kids back then, you was probably a bit nervous about them going out in case they get like sort of come up against a clown. But anyway, I digress. So according to the New York Times, the clown sightings resulted in at least 12 arrests across the United States and 1 death. Wow, okay. In Reading, in Pennsylvania, a 16-year-old boy was fatally stabbed during an incident that could have been provoked by a prowler wearing a clown mask. The charges related to the sightings including making false reports, threats and chasing people. Now, I do remember the chasing people thing because that happened a lot here in the UK. Because I thought to myself at the time, because obviously I take my dogs out and stuff, and I thought I'd like to see somebody come and try and chase me with my 2 dogs because they would just bite them. So I do remember saying that actually at the time. So throughout this time, the internet social media sites received numerous postings related to the big craze. The World Clown Association president, Randy Christiansen, took a stance against the trend of people dressing up as clowns to frighten people. Circuses and other clown-related businesses were affected. In October 2016, McDonald's decided that Ronald McDonald would keep a lower profile as a result of incidents. Wow, okay. A sociologist has called 2016 a bad time to be a professional clown. The killer clown craze was linked to a significant increase in sales of clown suits in and near Glasgow in Scotland. During Halloween, some Floridans decided to go armed while trick-or-treating. See, that's a bit scary, isn't it? Now, on the 12th of October, the Russian embassy in London issued a warning to Russian and British citizens because of the clown scare. And on 13th of October, Fijian police warned people against the involvement in the events. Several New Zealand shops withdrew clown costumes from their shelves. In the United States, the East Side Union High School District, the West Milford School District, Ohio School District and Springboro Community Schools issued a blanket ban on all clown costumes and clown masks in addition to previously existing policies and restrictions. Now, Target pulled clown masks from its website and the stores as a result of the scare, as did Canadian Tire. The village of Memramcook, that's a really fabulous name, isn't it? Memramcook. Wow, okay. Asked residents not to dress up as clowns on Halloween. Employees of the theme parks were instructed to remove any horror costumes and makeup before leaving work. So by October 25th, 2016, several news outlets reported on alleged clown-initiated purge or attack, which supposedly was to take place on Halloween Eve of 2016. While there were no widespread purge attacks as threatened, a family from Florida was attacked on 31st of October 2016 by a group of approximately 20 people in clown masks. And the masks were styled after the Purge movie, but no arrests were made. Students at Pennsylvania State University and Michigan State University were involved in mobs that searched for clowns on campuses after reporting sightings. Rumours of clown attacks have floated around on campgrounds. Now, with the whole clown thing, I mean, it's quite shocking when you think about it now, because back in 2016, or when it first sort of come about in 2013, it was I suppose it started off as a funny thing, and then it seemed to have got a little bit more scary, I suppose is the right word. So it did its job, I suppose, as being scary for whatever it was supposed to be doing. I don't know. I do remember it though, and I do remember thinking, I'm glad, my son back then was quite young, and I remember thinking that I'm glad that I took him places in my car or walked with him or whatever. He didn't go out alone type thing very much. So yeah, I do think that there's probably a lot of parents out there that were very similar situation, to be fair. Anyway, let's move on to the next urban legend. Now, this urban legend is called The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. It's also known as the babysitter or the sitter, and it's an urban legend that dates back to the 1960s about a teenage babysitter who receives telephone calls that turn out to be like coming from inside the house. The basic storyline has been adapted for a number of times in movies, so you've probably heard of it. I have, but I still like the legend. It's one of them that gives you goosebumps. So the legend dates back as far as the 1960s, with its exact original inspiration not entirely certain. However, the 1950 unsolved murder of teenage babysitter Janet Kreisman in Columbia, Missouri, seems to have been an influence, at the very least, on later versions via media adaptations. So days before her 14th birthday, she took a babysitting job for a couple, during which she was sexually assaulted and killed by an unknown assailant. One suspect, the 27-year-old Robert Miller, was an acquaintance of Kreisman, and as well as a couple that she was sitting for. Now, Miller had employed Kreisman as a sitter and was playing cards with the couple on the night of the incident. He left early, claiming he needed to take care of a sick child at home, but he was determined not to have gone home just then. Kreisman called the police with screams for help, but they did not learn her address. So when the couple returned, the porch light was on and the front door unlocked, implying that Kreisman had let her attack her in. A side window had been unnecessarily broken, with a garden hoe stowed inside the house. The legend details a teenage girl who is watching television at night while babysitting after the children have been put to bed upstairs. The phone rings, the unknown caller tells her to check on the children. The girl dismisses the call, but the anonymous caller dials back several times, and the girl becomes increasingly frightened. Eventually, the babysitter calls the police, who informs her that they will trace the call next time. After the stranger calls again, the police return her call, advising her to leave the house immediately. She evacuates the home, and the police meet her to explain that the calls were coming from inside the house, and that the unidentified prowler was calling her after killing the children upstairs. This is why this legend always gives me the goosebumps. It's just the thought of, having someone upstairs while you're sitting downstairs babysitting someone else's children, and then finding out from the police that that person's killed the children and he's phoning you and it's just creepy, isn't it? But it's a good story. Some variants of the story have one or more of these sort of details. So in more child-friendly versions, the caller turns out to be either one of the children or an elder sibling who decided to scare the babysitter as a prank, and they get told off by the police. There's that. There's also the babysitter is also killed. And then the babysitter rescues the children and the prowler is arrested by the police. So there's that one as well, which is quite a nice one. Or while being away, being taken away by the police, the prowler whispers or says out loud, "See you soon," to the babysitter. That's creepy. In some versions, when the prowler calls the babysitter, he just makes scary noises like giggling or heavy breathing. Also, in this version, when the operator says that the calls have been coming in from inside the same house, the phone goes quiet. And when the operator asks if the babysitter is still there, all they get is the same scary noises, meaning that the babysitter has already been killed. I've got goosebumps just reading it, honestly. The children are with the babysitter while watching television. The prowler starts phoning them, saying that he'll be with them in a decreasing amount of time. Then after they get the news that the calls are coming from inside the house, they hear a door upstairs opening and the sound of footsteps heading down towards the room. This version can be found in the first book of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So now there's another one which is years later, The babysitter is now an adult and has a family of her own. One evening, she and her husband go to dinner while the babysitter looks after the children. The evening is going well until the waiter approaches them at the table and says there's a phone call for them. She answers the phone and hears, "Did you check on the children?" This is an ending that appears in some of the movie versions. That one is weird and creepy, isn't it? So the last one I think is the children. The police inform one of the children that they found the prowler under the kid's bed holding a weapon. I mean, how creepy would that be? Honestly, it's just creepy, isn't it? So there's a similar urban legend as the clown statue or the clown doll, which is a babysitter is unnerved by what she assumes is a hideous life-size statue of a clown in the corner of a room. When the mother and father of the children she's caring for calls home to check if the babysitter the babysitter asks if she can cover the clown statue with a blanket. The parent informs the babysitter that they do not own a clown statue. The statue was really a murderer with dwarfism that dresses in a clown costume. How can you imagine that? A dwarf murderer is bad enough, but dressed up in the clown costume, I mean, that's just stuff of nightmares, isn't it? Now, due to the nature of this version, its own variants of the story have one or more of these details. Number 1. The children mention the murderous small person stalking them, either early or later in the story. Number 2. The murderous small person pretends to be a clown doll instead of a clown statue, which is a bit creepy in itself. Number 3. In some versions, the room itself can be the parents' bedroom or the basement rather than the living room. So, number 4, the babysitter. She gets slowly annoyed by the clown statue sometime later, before calling the parents and getting their permission to cover the clown statue up. Number 5. In some versions, the babysitter either asks the parents to switch rooms or she walks up and down the stairs as means to avoid seeing the statue. Number 6. The babysitter uses a sheet or something else to cover the clown statue up. Number 7. In some versions, the story takes place in Newport Beach, California. And the last one is, in few versions, the intruder is a perverted homeless person or a vengeful ghost clown who died in their family's home instead of a small murderous, small serial killer or a mentally ill patient. I mean, they're all a bit like mad, aren't they? Like, every single one. Can you imagine? That's just creepy. So, some of the films that have used this whole urban legend thing, we'll name a few. And they start back from 1971, which was a film called Foster's Release. And then in 1973, The Severed Arm. Okay, that says it all. 1974, Black Christmas. And 1977, The Sitter. When a Stranger Calls in 1979, and then in 1993, When a Stranger Calls Back. And then again, Black Christmas in 2006, and When a Stranger Calls again in 2006. So these are obviously remakes of the other original films. Because then When a Stranger Calls, When a Killer Calls is also in 2006, and in 2008 is one called Amusement. And then again in 2019, Black Christmas. So again, it's obviously been a remake of the original film. So it's obviously been remade like it's 3 times or whatever. Anyway, that is a legend that I actually really, really like, because I just think it's creepy, and you know, if you watch a film and it's got a creepy sort of storyline like that, it's going to give you goosebumps and make you sit on the edge of your seat. There is no two ways about that, is there? Anyway, let's get on to the next one, shall we? So this one is called The Crying Boy. Now, The Crying Boy was a mass-produced print of a painting by an Italian painter. And this was like the pen name of the painter, Bruno Amarillo. And it was widely distributed from 1950s onwards. There were numerous alternate versions, all portraits of a tearful young boys or girls. In addition to being widely known, there are certain urban legends say that they've got a curse. So the curse, on the 5th of September 1985, the British tabloid newspaper The Sun reported that an Essex firefighter claimed that undamaged copies of the painting were frequently found among the ruins of burned houses. Now, by the end of November, belief in the painting's curse was widespread enough that The Sun was organising mass bonfires of these paintings sent in by readers. Steve Punt, a British writer and comedian, investigated the curse in an episode of BBC Radio 4's production, Punt PI. It first aired on October 2010. The conclusion reached by the programme following testing at a building research establishment is that the prints were treated with a varnish containing fire retardant, and that the string holding the painting to the wall would be the first to deteriorate, resulting in the painting landing face down on the floor and thus being protected. David Clark, who's an investigative journalist, says that the stories naming the child as Don Bonillo or Diablo did not emerge until 2000 in a book by Tom Sleeman. They relate the child to several fires, including the painter's studio. However, he says that there is absolutely no truth whatsoever in any of it. Now, I have to say, I do remember, obviously being from Britain and stuff, I do remember the painting because I was a little kid, and I do remember the painting. And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure my mum and dad had one. And it was either that or there's another painting which had another urban legend that his eyes used to follow you, and that one literally did. Its eyes used to follow you wherever you bloody went. It was horrible because I remember it was hanging on the on the stairwell, so when you went down the stairs it was bloody looking at you as a little kid. But they were a big thing back then in the 80s, paintings of children and stuff, which is, I think, creepy in itself, to be fair. But also the British tabloid newspaper The Sun. Now let me just say this, that is a really shit paper. It's known for making up a load of nonsense, I think, to be quite honest. But I think this one was because the reason I chose this story is because I remember it as a child. I do remember the whole thing of, oh my God, the painting, it won't burn down, you can't even burn it and all that sort of thing, because it had a curse, and, people went mad about it and stuff. Because there was in early September 1985 that the phenomenon entered the public domain when Yorkshire fireman Peter Hall was quoted in a national newspaper saying that the fire brigades across the north of England had found examples of the same picture remaining untouched in fires, whose causes remained unknown. So Hall spoke out after his brother Ron Hall, who did not believe the story, deliberately bought a copy of The Crying Boy to disprove the jinx. He found his home in Swallow Nest, South Yorkshire, mysteriously burnt down soon afterwards. Seeing that the picture had been removed intact from the charts, Ron Hall put his boot through it. So Ron was pretty pissed off that his house had burnt down and the picture has still remained intact. So he put his boot through it, and that was that. Yeah, well, this is what I mean. It's one of them stories, isn't it? That it's hard to believe, but at the time, you're thinking, people would believe things like that at the time. It's a curse. It's like, it's dangerous. It will burn your house down. You can't have it in your house. And people really, really went to town on things like that back then. I think because nowadays, with the internet and everything else, you can look so much stuff up these days, and you know when things are real and when they're not real. But back in the 80s, the internet didn't exist, so you couldn't look stuff up. You literally would have to go to a library, and you wouldn't get things like urban legends, I don't think, in the library. I could be wrong, of course, but I mean, who knows? Okay, so Dora Brand of Mitcham in Surrey saw her home reduced to a pyre 6 weeks after she bought the painting, and although it was among many others that she owned, it was the only one that survived. So this is what I find a little bit weird, is that the painting literally would never burn. So, that is the weird thing about the whole thing. Sandra Crask of Kilburn said that she, her sister, her mother and a friend all suffered fires since buying copies of the picture. Again, believe what you will. October 21st of October 1985, the Parillo Pizza Palace in Great Yarmouth in Norfolk was gutted by fire, although it's prominently displayed, the Crying Boy picture remained in pristine condition. On October 24th, 1985, the Godper family of Herringthorpe, South Yorkshire, lost their home to an unexplained fire. The Crying Boy picture displayed in their living room stayed unmarked, while pictures on the other side of it had been completely consumed by the fat flames. So on the 25th of October 1985, in Heswell, Merseyside, a pair of paintings hanging in the living and dining rooms of a house belonging to the Amos family were found intact after a gas explosion destroyed the building. Now, if it was a gas explosion, that house is going up with every flipping thing in it. So how these paintings managed to stay intact, I'll never know. In November 1985, a woman from Leeds who destroyed her picture of the Crying Boy seemed certain that its destruction was to blame for the deaths of a fire of her husband and 3 sons. That could be. I can't say you can blame the picture for that. I mean, did she get away with that when she went to court? I just don't know. And Mrs. Woodward of Forest Hill in London destroyed her picture, believing it to be responsible for the loss of her son, daughter, husband and mother in separate fire-related incidents. Now, I mean, come on now, really? Okay. On the 12th of November 1985, Malcolm Vaughan of Churchdown in Gloucestershire helped to destroy a neighbour's picture. He returned home to find his own living room ablaze for reasons which firemen were unable to explain. Okay, that's weird. December 1985, 67-year-old William Armitage died in the mysterious fire that swept through his house in Weston-super-Mare. It was discovered that the Crying Boy picture was found intact, lying beside the pensioner's charred body. Now that is sad, isn't it? One of the firemen who dealt with the blaze was afterwards quoted for saying, "I've never believed in the jinx up until now, but when you actually come across a picture in a gutted room and it's literally the only thing that hasn't been touched, it is most odd." Now, it is most odd. I think the only explanation that I might be led to believe about the so-called painting is that it was, what was his name? Steve Punt. What he said about the prints being treated with varnish containing fire retardant, so the actual painting itself wouldn't burn because it's actually been treated with a special varnish which is fire retardant. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, how can a painting, one maybe perhaps could be cursed, one, but all of them, including copies? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know about that. I mean, I do remember the stories, and I do think, like, at the time, lots of people believed lots of different things because, it was back in the 80s and, we didn't have the internet and we weren't as clever then, I don't think, as we are now, So anyway, ending, I suppose, on a bit of a lighter note in a sense, because this story is, believe what you will. I mean, obviously, if you believe that the story, the cursed crying boy is cursed, then you well believe that. That's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm in two minds, put it that way. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all of my urban legends for today. Come back next time for some more, because I'm bound to be doing some of these again because I've really enjoyed doing them. So just come back for more and we'll do some more next time. Hope you enjoyed listening. So there you go. There's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Not quite sure why I said bro before. I've been watching something on telly and this woman, she says bro a lot, and I thought it was funny that she says it, and it's not funny that I say it, and I don't know why I said it, so I apologise for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and hope you learned some new urban legends, or if you knew about the ones I've talked about, let me know in the comments, because it's always good to hear your thoughts about all these things. My next video will be another true crime video, because I know I've had a few people now say to me they like my true crime video, so that's perfect. So I'll be getting back to that with my next video. But because, like, the ones that have been here for a while, me, and you know that I try and do like a spooky one and then a true crime one and then a spooky, kind of trying to alternate between them, because it's good to mix it up. So yeah, so that's why I did some urban legends today. Anyway, as it's the weekend, I hope you have a good one. I'm going to try and get back onto making a new video for next week, so I can get back into the swing of everything and get on it. So yeah, hopefully. Yeah, okay, that's all. I've got nothing else to say apart from have a nice weekend, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care of yourselves, keep smiling. Bye bye.